Xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals in South Africa often make headlines, accompanied by national debates on the impact of these attacks, as well as what actually constitutes xenophobia or not. In those debates and media coverage, one set of voices is usually left out: children. Foreign nationals or not, children are impacted by xenophobia and have things to say about it.
I don't think the media gives us enough attention when reporting on xenophobia, because the media doesn't dwell much on xenophobia attacks, and when they state the information, they just give us a hint of what is happening.
It feels scary as we live in a constant fear of being attacked at any point in time.
Those are voices of children from a local school in South Africa on xenophobia and how they see it. Lister Namumba, Program Officer for Media Monitoring Africa, says, based on research conducted by her organization, media coverage on xenophobia is inadequate, more especially when it comes to children.
When you dig deep, to analyze the issues or how how xenophobia in children is reported, you will note, or you will find, or we found that this coverage is event-based. So it's hardly about the issue. It's mostly about when an event has happened. There's a protest somewhere, there's violence somewhere, and this is when the media comes in. So it's hardly issue-based, it's mostly event-based, unfortunately.
In most cases, journalists find it hard to speak to children. Jermaine Krieg, who is a journalist, shares some of the struggles faced by journalists when working on such stories that requires children's input.
I mean, there's a lack of access to some extent as well. We're talking about interviewing children, but really vulnerable, marginalized children here. And very often it's easy to step back and say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to access these children. It's difficult enough to access children, for a normal story, for an easy story, for a good story. How am I going to do this?
The message from the children is this: let children speak for themselves and involve them in matters concerning them and ensure that they're protected. But how best can this be done?
It helps if, when you're talking to them, you're doing this in the presence of a counselor, so that, because the child might have undergone counseling and they might have been certified healthy enough to talk about the traumatic experience, but then they might be re-traumatized when they're talking about it.
In order to have access to a child, and make sure that the child is in a safe space where they themselves feel like they can communicate.
I think that is important, that we don't just access children as resources, but that we actually provide them with resources as well in the news that we tell.
The participants at the workshop organized by UNICEF and Media Monitoring Africa agreed on the importance of communities and journalists working together with strengthened trust, and all voices, including those of children, heard. Feedback, they say, is also very important. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.